In the deep forests, where the mother Volga makes a wide turn, and on a high bank stands the old city of Tver, there lived a merchant named Ilya. He was a solid man, not young, but not old, around 50. He traded in timber and furs, owned his own homestead, 3 shops at the market, barns full of goods, and 2 ships that sailed down the river all the way to Astrakhan. Ilya's wife, Arina, was a steady woman. She ran the household, raised their children, 2 daughters of marriageable age, and a teenage son, and never meddled in her husband's affairs. People said of them, Ilya and Arina are like 2 oaks by the same river. Their roots are deep, but their crowns do not reach each other. Ilya did not complain. Arina was faithful, kept a tight grip on the household, always had dinner ready, the children fed, the house in order. But deep in the merchant's soul lived a quiet yearning, which he spoke of to no one, not even to himself. He lacked what? He himself did not know. Perhaps fire, perhaps warmth, perhaps a woman's tenderness that makes a man's heart turn over, not just a habitual peck on the cheek before sleep. But Ilya did not cheat. Never. 25 years of marriage, and not once did he even allow a thought. God gave me a wife. With her I shall live, he reasoned. And so he lived. One summer, Ilya set off for the fair in Nizhny Novgorod. He had big business: to sell furs, buy timber, strike deals with Persian merchants for silks. He rode on his horse, with 2 trusted clerks, through forests and fields. The road was long. On the 3rd day of travel, as the sun was setting, Ilya saw a woman on the roadside. She sat on a fallen birch tree, barefoot, in a torn sundress, quietly weeping. Nearby stood a broken cart. A bundle of belongings lay on the ground, and a horse wandered nearby, limping on its front leg. Ilya stopped, dismounted, and asked, "What happened? How can I help?" The woman raised her head, and Ilya caught his breath. She was not just beautiful, she was like a vision. Her eyes, dark, deep, like pools. Her hair, light brown, heavy, escaping from under her kerchief. Her face, pale, but not from illness, from the grief that had just befallen her. And in that face, there was so much life, so much pain, so much piercing feminine strength that Ilya forgot how to breathe. He stood and gazed at her like a boy seeing a woman for the first time. Arina had never stirred such a feeling in him. Arina was reliable, good, proper, but she lacked that fire. "I was robbed," the woman said in a voice that trembled but rang like a little bell. "My husband and I were traveling from Murom, and in the forest, bandits fell upon us. My husband was killed. The horse was lamed. All our goods were taken. And me, they didn't touch me, but left me here. This is my 2nd day sitting here, not knowing where to go." Ilya came to his senses. He walked over, helped her to her feet, gave her his flask of water, ordered his clerks to examine the cart and the horse. Then he asked, "What is your name?" "I was christened Maria," she answered. "Masha." Ilya helped her reach the nearest village, settled her in an inn, bought her new clothes, paid for her horse's treatment. He could not do otherwise. Every time he looked at her, he felt something inside him turn over. He knew this was a sin. He knew he had a wife. But he could not leave and abandon her alone. Masha was grateful. She did not make eyes at him, did not flirt. She was simply there, quiet, sorrowful, noble in her grief. Ilya stayed in that village for 3 days. Then he decided to take Masha with him to Nizhny Novgorod. Thus began what Ilya had neither planned nor wanted. On the road, they talked. Masha turned out to be not only beautiful, but also intelligent. She knew herbs, knew how to heal, understood trade. Her father had been a forest elder, and she had grown up among forests and fields. She spoke simply, but sharply, as if every word was honed. She did not complain about her fate. She did not cry in front of Ilya. Only at night, when everyone slept, he heard quiet sobbing from her room. And then he wanted to drop everything, go into her, embrace her, and say, "Don't cry, I am with you." But he did not go in. He prayed. He asked God to remove this obsession. But God, it seemed, did not hear him. On the 5th day of travel, they stopped by a forest lake. Ilya went to wash his face. Masha stood on the shore, gazing at the water, and then suddenly turned to him. In her eyes, there was no shame, only sorrow and some kind of abyss. "Ilya," she said softly, "I cannot pretend that I feel nothing. You saved my life. You are kind as no one else in this world. And if you do not need me, tell me, and I will leave." Ilya stood, clenching his fists. Inside him, duty and passion wrestled. He thought of Irina, of his children, of 25 years of honest life. And he answered, "I do need you, Masha, but I cannot. Not now." Masha nodded, smiled through her tears, and stepped away. That night, Ilya did not sleep. He tossed, prayed, cursed himself, and in the morning, he made a decision. He took Masha to Nizhny Novgorod, found her shelter with an old widow, left her money for the first while, and said, "I will return. Wait for me." He left without looking back. In Tver, business, family, and his accustomed life awaited him. Irina greeted him as always, kissed him on the cheek, asked how the road was, and went to cook supper. The children were delighted with their gifts. The house was warm, nourishing, peaceful. But Ilya was not with them. He was there, by the forest lake, with the woman who had looked at him with eyes full of pain and hope. He lasted a month. Then he told Irina that he urgently needed to go to Nizhny, business. His wife suspected nothing wrong. She was used to her husband, traveling often. Ilya came to Masha, and everything repeated. Only this time he could not restrain himself. He crossed the line. He did not abandon Irina. He did not leave his family. He lived in 2 houses, in Tver and in Nizhny. He lied to his wife, to his children, to his clerks. He became entangled in his lies, like in a net, but he could not stop. Masha had become a drug for him. Without her, he suffocated. 3 years passed like this. One day, Ilya fell seriously ill. He lay in a fever in Tver, delirious, calling for Masha. Irina heard that name. She said nothing. She simply nursed her husband, gave him herbal infusions, changed the sheets. When Ilya recovered, she sat down across from him and said, "Ilya, I know everything. I know you were with another woman. I know you went to her. I know you love her. And I want to ask you only one thing. Are you happy?" Ilya hung his head. Happy? No. He was torn in two. He tormented himself, tormented Masha, tormented Irina. He was not happy. "I will not hold you," said Irina. "If you want, leave. But we cannot go on living like this." Ilya wept. He fell to his knees before his wife. He begged forgiveness. He promised to break with Masha. Irina forgave him. A week later, Ilya went to Nizhny Novgorod for the last time. He explained to Masha that he could not go on, that he had a family, that he begged forgiveness from her, from himself, from God. Masha listened in silence. Then she said, "I knew it would be this way. I knew from the very first day, and yet I followed you, because you showed me a kindness I had never met before. Farewell, Ilya." He never saw her again. Back in Tver, Ilya sat for a long time on the porch of his house. An old wandering monk approached him. "Why are you sad, merchant?" asked the monk. Ilya told him everything. The monk listened and said, "A man does not cheat until he meets a woman who awakens in him what has slept for years. This is not about lust. This is about emptiness. If at home everything was smooth, but there was no fire, you became the prey of the first spark you saw. It is not Masha's fault, nor yours. It is the emptiness you did not notice for 25 years. What am I to do? Asked Ilya. Return to Irina, not as to a housekeeper, as to a woman. See in her not the mother of your children, but the girl you once chose, and awaken the fire where it fell asleep. If it doesn't work, then such is your fate, but at least try. Ilya stood up, went into the house, took Irina by the hand and said, "Let us go for a walk. I want to tell you how much I love you." Irina was surprised. She had not heard those words for many years, and in her eyes a little spark lit up.